Sleep and Relax, ASMR, the YouTube channel and podcast that helps you fall asleep and get into a deeper state of relaxation. Today I thought I would focus the episode on the Eurocup 2016, as well as the reaction to Kevin Durant joining the Golden State Warriors. I'm a big sports fan. If you're a big sports fan, then maybe you'll be interested in hearing my thoughts on both topics. If you're not a sports fan, then keep on listening, because it's probably going to bore you all the way till sleep. Either way, I think it's a win-win. Let's dive into it. Okay, so the date of this recording is July 6, 2016. That's obviously important because if you listen to this in the near future, after I publish it, the Eurocup might have been concluded, and there may have been some other big news in NBA free agency. But today, again, the day of this recording, Portugal defeated Wales 2-0 in the semifinal of the Eurocup. I saw most of the match, and I figured I would start by giving some of my thoughts on the Eurocup so far, my thoughts on the game, and thoughts for Portugal in the final. I would first start off by saying I was rooting for Wales. I like Wales as a story. I think they're an interesting sort of underdog tale. A country with not a ton of football or soccer history to really guide them. You know, they're not Italy or Germany or, even Portugal, which doesn't have the richest or the winningest of soccer history. It definitely has produced world-class players and some, incredibly talented squads. And Wales, really hasn't. So, I was rooting for Wales. I enjoy a good underdog story. The first thing that really jumped out when the match concluded was, number one, Ronaldo's header was insanely good. That's world-class stuff. That first goal by Ronaldo, I think it was right before halftime. He had an opportunity to put Portugal up. He had a really good chance. I forget who made the cross, but one of the players for Portugal made a really great cross into the box, and Ronaldo jumped up and, in my opinion, wasted an awesome opportunity. Which, anyone who really sees Ronaldo play for his club, Real Madrid, versus for his country, will tell you that he tends to put on world-class performances with Real Madrid, but is never anything special when he puts on his national team's jersey. So I thought for sure we were going to see some kind of performance the rest of the way from Ronaldo that is more reminiscent of previous Ronaldo, where, would create some really great opportunities but just not seal the deal. But shortly into the second half, Ronaldo scores an incredible header, puts Portugal up 1-0. I thought Wales was going to come back with a response soon after, but Portugal just kind of kept on adding to the lead, and eventually Ronaldo had another opportunity, and he blew it. For all intents and purposes, he really did blow that. He had the ball right outside the box. It was gonna. He tried to produce most prolific scorers and really one of the most electric soccer players in the world in Gareth Bale. But the few opportunities he produced were good. I mean, Bale definitely tried. He made a lot of great opportunities. He created opportunities and created things where it didn't really seem like Wales had anything going on for them. But anyway, I mean, those are sort of just my thoughts on the match. Portugal played well. They capitalized on a couple of opportunities, which, if you've been watching Eurocup 2016, that's pretty much the name of the game. Is you have a couple of chances in each match, and you're gonna have to convert. I had to pause the video again there for a second because the plane was going by over the house. I apologize if you guys could hear it. I alluded to it. I mean, you guys will probably hear me allude to it as the YouTube channel and podcast continue, but it just seems like every time I'm doing one of these recordings, a whisper recording, everything seems to be, going great, and there's always some point in the recording where, a dog will start barking or a plane is crossing overhead. So, anyway, I hope you guys are okay with it, and I apologize once again. So going back to the Eurocup 2016, and in particular, semi-final of Wales between Portugal. Obviously for Wales, the suspension of Aaron Ramsey was, that was a pretty big loss for them because Gunners fans can say whatever they want about Ramsey, and fans can say whatever they want about Ramsey, but he's very pacey, and he really connects on a lot of really great crosses and long balls. And I think with a player as speedy and prolific as Bale, that combination of Ramsey and Bale keeps defenses on their toes, and I think it definitely would have helped Wales in today's match versus Portugal. But what's done is done. Obviously Ramsey couldn't play. When you're missing one of your more important players, it's going to be very difficult. And not that Portugal, obviously, everyone's a little bit hurt, right, at the end of the day. Some people are hurt, some players have suspension. There's always something. I would have loved to have seen Wales go through, but that's the result, and nothing that can be done now. I like Portugal. I like Ronaldo, despite the fact that most people don't. I think we're starting to see him not deteriorate, but I think he's definitely starting to exit his prime. I think over the next year, and definitely 2 years, I don't think he'll be the same kind of physical player, and I think he'll remain world class for a while, but I like to see stars as well. It's kind of like a contradiction because I love underdogs, but at the same time I love seeing stars in big matches, and I'm pretty interested in seeing how Ronaldo plays in the final, which obviously will be determined by Germany versus France. I think touching on that match for a second, Germany is dealing with a fair share of injuries. I can't quite recall if they have any major suspensions right now off the top of my head. France has been scoring in bunches, and between Payet and Griezmann, hell, even Olivier Giroud, I I kind of always just been, if I had to put money on it, I know France is playing at home. Pretty sure the match is at Paris. But I think either way, I think Germany will find a way to win. I just think they have a strong defensive line. I think they've got the best keeper in the world, Emmanuel Neuer. I think they have the sufficient playmakers to get behind France's back four. And I think Germany's playmaking ability, I think we're going to see Mueller step up his game. He really hasn't been very effective, at least the last couple matches. But I think we'll see. If I had to predict, I think I'd say it's going to be, I don't know, 2-1 or maybe 2-2, and then it's decided by penalties. Which I think, unlike a lot of others, I kind of enjoy penalties. I think after so much play, if you haven't produced much offense, then it's a pretty exciting way to finish a match. Although a lot of people tend to disagree on that front. A lot of people think that penalties is just kind of like a cop-out or an easy way out or an unfair way to end a match, but I like them. I think, again, after so much playing time, if both teams are tied, there are just some matches in soccer that end up taking so long to conclude, and both teams are just playing so defensively that it just becomes brutal to watch. I know that we all want fast-paced soccer. I understand why teams occasionally will, or frequently, towards the end of matches, become just defensive, but as a fan, it's obviously a lesser experience, and I think it just becomes so much more exciting when you at least conclude with something that's so random and so high-paced, like penalties. So anyway, that's my thoughts on Eurocup 2016. Sad to see Wales go. I was especially sad to see Iceland go. But that's an entirely different thing altogether. That's just because I was really rooting for the underdog. I mean, they were the underdogs in real story of the tournament. But anyway, I expect Portugal to lose to either Germany or France. And I think Germany will be the overall winner despite some of their injuries and suspensions. Moving quickly to the Kevin Durant decision. I had no problem with it. Let's start there. I think it's kind of ridiculous when sports fans think athletes either owe something to their hometown or to the team that drafted them or brought them into the league. And I also think it's ridiculous because in what sport or profession, let me restart that. In what profession, when does anyone in any other profession have to do something according to others? It's like fans feel like they have to be the focal point of these athletes' decisions, and they really aren't. These athletes are motivated by obviously where they can get paid and where they can win and where they would feel most comfortable. Personally, I think it makes the NBA for this upcoming season very interesting. I'm a big NBA fan, but the idea of Kevin Durant now joining would have been considered the greatest team of all time had they just beat the Cavs that one last time. I think that really makes it an even more interesting year. In particular because the West is so damn tough. I mean, the West is still going to be such a beast next year. what San Antonio will bring back, since you never know with San Antonio. Each year they get older, it gets a little more difficult. So I thought that, again, the decision by Durant to join Golden State was a bit shocking. I kind of thought he would stay one more year in Oklahoma City and then maybe make a move over somewhere else, but I'm totally fine with it. I think it's going to make for a really exciting year. I think as an athlete, he can only make a decision for himself. He can't be making decisions for the city of Oklahoma City or for fans. Kevin Durant clearly wants to be part of a championship team, and it seems like he sort of gave up on the idea of winning that championship with OKC. What I'm definitely interested in seeing is what the dynamic will be with Kevin Durant. Because, as mentioned, the Golden State Warriors, they were the defending champs heading into this past season. They had the MVP in Steph Curry. They had arguably two of the best two-way players in the game in both Klay Thompson and Draymond Green, with Klay Thompson being a severely underrated defender. And that team was stacked. They broke the regular season wins record by the Bulls by only one game, but that's still an incredible feat. It was 20 years that mark had stood. And now you add to that an MVP winner in Kevin Durant. Someone who a lot of people would consider to be probably the most versatile scorer in the game, maybe the biggest offensive threat in the game. And now you add that guy, this freak of an athlete, to again an incredible Golden State Warriors team. It's going to be really exciting, I think, to watch the dynamic. And what's really interesting is what's going to happen if and when Golden State goes on a 2 or 3 game losing streak, which may or may not happen. If you refer back to 2010 when LeBron James joined the Miami Heat, which, by the way, that was on a totally different level. When you look at the efficiency of Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh and LeBron James, when you look at their just pure, just stat-based efficiency, you had 3 of the top 5 most efficient players in the league joining the same team. So I don't even think we have that here with Kevin Durant and the Golden State Warriors, but I'm really rooting for the Warriors not to win, but to just be as dramatic and as interesting as Miami Heat. And I think if they do become as interesting as that team, then the NBA it's for the better. I feel bad for a small market team like the Thunder, because chances are now they're going to end up losing Russell Westbrook. And for the last, 8-10 years, I don't really even know how long those guys have been playing together. It's less than that. I guess for the last 6 or 8 years, however long they've been playing together, the Thunder have been very competitive, and they've been, they were one of the better teams in the NBA. And I thought this year they were going to be able to break through after they had that 3-1 lead versus Golden State. It'll also be interesting to see the fan reaction to Kevin Durant when he gets back to OKC, when he visits there with the Warriors, obviously. So anyway, I don't feel any particular way over fine with it. I just want the NBA to be exciting, and it's definitely going to be as exciting as ever this upcoming year. And I think that's enough commentary on that. I want to thank you guys for listening this far. If you want to get in touch, just leave a comment on the YouTube video, or you can reach out to sleep and relax asmr@gmail.com, and I'll gladly answer any questions you have, or even if you just want to send a little note and pass something by me or make a comment. We'll love to get in touch. So I hope you guys are either fast asleep or in this really nice deep state of relaxation. Thanks again for listening.